Hello, and thanks for joining us today. I'm super excited you could be here. Today, we're going to solve the biggest problem a company has. I mean, like, maybe not the biggest, but one of the biggest, which is actually bringing sales and marketing together. I mean, this is one of the hardest things to accomplish because typically marketing and sales are kind of at each other's throat. But when you accomplish this, then you be blown away at the exponential growth that you can accomplish. And with us to have this conversation is Pam Didner. Now, Pam is a seasoned B2B consultant, speaker, fractional CMO, author, and podcaster. Her extensive knowledge covers various areas such as strategic planning, account-based marketing, demand generation, and sales enablement as well. She thrives on diving deep into the trenches with her clients as a regular fractional CMO with 20 years of corporate experience spanning finance, accounting, manufacturing, operations, and marketing. She knows how companies work. So, as an accomplished business author, Pam has also written count that, that's 5 different books: The Modern AI Marketer in the GPT Era, The Modern Marketer Guide to Gen AI Prompts, The Modern AI Marketer, Effective Sales Enablement, Global Content Marketing as well. I mean, wow, a lot of accomplishments here. Pam has also launched her popular podcast, B2B Marketing and More, which serves as a hub for industry insights and interviews in the B2B space. Pam, thanks for joining us today.
Thank you for that fabulous, overrated intro, but I'm very happy to be here.
So I messed up. Before we start, I usually ask the correct pronunciation of your name. Did I pronounce your last name correctly?
Fabulously.
Okay,
Perfect.
perfect. All right. Because then I
Thank
say that, I was like, uh-oh, I hope I didn't mess this up right at the
No, you
beginning.
did not. You did well.
So I think this is such an important topic, and we've never covered this before on the show. So
Okay.
why do you think that it's important for sales and marketing to be able to effectively work well together?
I think for a long period of time, and I was a traditional marketer that kind of date my own age. And the way back then, sales can do their jobs and marketing can do their job. But then, the internet came and then the evolution of digital. The digital kind of created this a very seamless experience actually for your customers and also prospects. So how your prospect come to you from the initial to be aware of your product, down to your website, down to talking to sales, even the post customer experience, everything is done online and also in digital world. So creating a seamless experience becomes very important, and that somehow forces the sales and marketing needs to work together. Is that helpful? It's basically kind of like the natural evolution of the digital realm.
So I find that, a typical company, and we definitely have dealt with this for over a decade. You've got your marketing that brings in leads, and then sales that sells and converts them. And
Yeah.
then when sales isn't converting them, it's like the lead quality is bad, right? And then
Yeah.
from marketing
Mhm.
standpoint, marketing is like, why can't sales convert all these leads we have come in? And this
Yeah.
is typical in a normal company where these two butt heads. So what have you found are some key strategies to remove that tension and get these two teams to work effectively together?
Excellent question, Ty. Excellent. I just want to share with everybody the challenge Ty just explained still at it as of today, it still exists across many, many, many companies. That means a lot of companies still don't have that perfect sales and marketing alignments. And there are a lot of reasons associated with that, a lot. And I don't have to go into a detail. But the importance for you to understand, especially for entrepreneurs, you cannot afford that sales and marketing not working together. You cannot afford that. You bootstrap, every penny counts. So whatever marketing does needs to show certain kind of revenue impact. So having both of them align is super, super critical. I always tell entrepreneurs or anybody who has actually just launched their business or in the process getting their business to certain revenue goal, that make sure that whatever marketing does have some sort of revenue impact. And you need to somehow track that. If you are able to track the marketing impact on the sales side, the friction is going to be a whole lot lower. But to address your question in terms of like the lead quality is not very good, and then the sales cannot convert the leads, I personally believe there's one way to solve that problem is you have very clear definition of MQL, which is marketing qualified leads. At the same time, you have a very clear definition. Basically, you look at that definition, you're like, that's it. There's no dispute. Literally leaves no imagination what that definition is. Clear definition between MQL and clear definition between SQL, which is sales qualified leads, are the one way to solve that problem. For example, the marketing qualified leads is it needs to meet our ICP, ideal customer profile, that salespeople approved. It needs to show interest. That interest can mean they come to my webinar 3 times, or it actually download specific type of content, for example, pricing guide, or they show certain kind of intent that give the marketers more clue that they are actually interested, potentially interested, talking to sales. So you need to do additional vetting instead of just getting the lead and the pass or throw it over the wall to the salespeople. Is that helpful? So have a very clear definition that both sides agree is super critical.
Yeah, I think it's essential. I love that because that's how we actually help resolve this. It's astonishing from internal Credit Suite how well our two teams now work together. Long time took us to get there, and how we got there was exactly what you said. We first had marketing define what a MQL, what is a qualified lead for you to come in, and then we got sales, the whole team together. And we said, what is an SQL? Like, what lead will you accept? What do you feel is a qualified lead that can actually come to you? And it's interesting because once we did that, we stopped that problem because now the leads meet sales definition themselves of what's qualified. So it's impossible for them to, not impossible, they'll find a way, but it's hard for them to go back and say the leads aren't good when they meet that qualification. So I just think that's brilliant.
So Ty, there's one more thing I would like to add. When the definitions are so clear, sales also needs to lower the goal on the MQL side. Like a lot of times it was like, oh, I need 1,000 leads. Okay, do you really need 1,000 MQLs? So when the definition is clearly defined, I always tell my clients to lower the goal, the MQL goal, because now it's a whole lot more clear. That means it's harder to get leads to meet that criteria. Is that helpful? So you somehow need to also make sure the quantity of the goal aligns with the definition.
Yeah, it all ties together perfectly. And this is a lot of how we solved it too. I think what a lot of companies deal with is what we did, that, when you look at the people that come in, only a fraction qualify and then only a fraction of them buy. So it's like that small fraction that buys supports the whole organization, right?
Right. 80-20% rule. Yeah.
It's crazy. And usually if you look at opt-ins, it's way less than 20% because 20% is like the close rate of who they talk to. Like it might be 3, 4, 5%. But when we went down the path you went down, where we said, look, here's qualified, here's non-qualified. Non-qualified can still come in if you're bringing them in, but marketing, your job's to sell them.
It's not to nurture them. That's a user word, to nurture them, right? So
Well, we put them into a nurture sequence, and they nurture them, and then it's like you sell them. Like if you can't sell them something for $100, then how's sales supposed to sell them something for $3,000 type of thing?
Agree. Yeah.
And to your point, I think it's interesting because when we had marketing, to your point, go and start generating revenue off the people sales can't help, then that covers all of our costs. And then like the rest is kind of the graving on top, where it used to be, we lived off what sales could convert. So I think it's interesting because that has been the game changer in our organization.
Well said, Ty.
To what your point is, what do you find the barriers are then? Like when we do this, and you've given some phenomenal actionable insight on things right now people can do to go out there. And by the way, if you're watching this and you don't know what an MQL is, now you do, and an SQL, then you want to go down that path. What do you define as a qualified lead coming in? What do you define as a sales qualified lead coming down? Once you have that, then you can start to get these two work together, because to your point, then sales and marketing can communicate and say, hey, we got these people, they're not qualified, or hey, they are, and work together. Once you get to that point, what other barriers do you see that stand in the way of a business being able to grow once the marketing and sales team have that synergy?
So what I have seen is this is probably happen more on the B2B side. When I say B2B is, say your company sell the product directly to businesses or enterprises. and probably less so on the B2C side, because B2C side is all about transaction. So the purchasing cycle is substantially shorter. So if your solution or your product is selling to businesses, it doesn't matter is a small businesses or big enterprises, it's still B2B. If you sell to a company, the purchasing cycle tend to be a whole lot longer, right? It's not something that you can turn it around like in a week, a day, 3 days to close the deal, right? Because the dollar value tend to be a little bit higher. That means you, especially within the company, they need to think about it. Several people need to think about it before you can close the deal. Given that the purchasing cycle is longer, and Ty, you are a great salesperson, you know what I'm talking about when I said, when you need to stay top of mind, right? You need to stay top of mind. Your product or your brand need to stay top of mind. So to make sure that that they're still thinking about you. If that's kind of dropped and they work on something else, chances are the chance of closing the deal is lower. So once you pass that SQL and it becomes an opportunity, you have to get from the SQL to somehow a prospect. When I say prospect, it's further qualify who are interested in demo. And from the demo, you also have to get them to the point that it becomes a pipeline opportunity, and then they are interested working with you. So from even SQL down to interesting demo, down to officially become a pipeline opportunity to close that contract, there's always various barriers along the way. And sometimes it takes several months to get to the contract close. So during that whole time, salespeople need help. So how can you as a marketer continue to build that momentum during that sales stages for your salespeople? How can you give the ammunitions, that's probably not a most PC word to use, or arm your salespeople with information that he can keep the conversation going? So that's the next phase of barrier. Is that helpful, Ty?
It is.
And I see that that's not sales job. That can be sales job alone. Some of the salespeople prefer to work that by themselves, but more and more, a lot of salespeople are turned to marketing and say, can you give me a piece of content? Can you work with me that we can send them some sort of gift that is going to give them kind of like, they were like, wow, this is interesting. Or what can we do to keep that momentum going? More and more salespeople are turning to marketing people and say, can you work with me on that? And that's where marketing can help sales directly to accelerate that conversion.
I used to own a consumer credit business. I exited many years ago. But to your point, problem we had was people get on the phone and wouldn't think that fixing credit would even work. So then we learned, to your point, that if we started sending them marketing messages even after they opted in, explaining to them how it worked, explaining the Fair Credit Reporting Act and the Fair Debt Collection Practices Act and all these laws, and how, then by the time we got on the phone, it wasn't a hard sale. Like, it was just answer a couple questions and close, because all that had been done through the marketing efforts. Is that what you're referencing? And what are some of the things that business owners should be doing in that sequence leading up to sales?
That can be one option, but what if you cannot close the deal on that phone? But like I said, that's probably a very short transaction. People understand, they can make a decision right there. It's not huge dollar value. But if they say, I need to think about it. Okay, what is the follow-up to do that? Is that follow-up with the email? And should marketing jump in, actually working with sales to get that email done? Right? Or if the demo is done, and when I say demo, is like you buy, say, a platform that needs to be integrated, say, into your podcast. Like, let's assume you are using Riverside.fm, and but you are not sure, and you're also not sure if this tool can integrate with your backend. So you need to think about it. So during that 7 to 14 days to think about it, how can I keep you to still interested in my platform? That's what I'm talking about. When the sale is not necessarily closed, or people have a second thought, or that the purchasing cycle is just much longer, what can we do to keep that going? That's what I'm referencing to.
And I love that, because that really is the process, right? Proper follow-up, proper information leading up to
Yeah.
a
Mm,
sale, for a sale to,
yeah.
to actually be able to convert.
Mhm.
You're the queen of AI when it comes to marketing.
I don't know about that.
I gave
I
you
might be a
that.
slave
Now
of
you can
AI.
now go out in the world, you can say that. You say, I'm the queen of AI. I didn't say that. It's not me. Other people say that about me. And then it's true now. So I can be sure because I said it. That you are the queen of AI when it comes to marketing. So how are you seeing this change with AI? I mean, you know enough about this to have written, multiple books on it. So how are you seeing what AI is doing in the marketing world to be able to help, basically help through the process of getting a lead and then converting it?
Great question. So, just for folks who are listening, if you are using ChatGPT, great. And if you are not using ChatGPT, Gemini, or Copilot, which is kind of the AI bot from Google and also Microsoft, you should try it. You should just try ChatGPT, try Gemini, open it and start asking questions. The things about the current AI is not a physical robot. It's basically a piece of software or algorithm that they can answer you questions. It's kind of like Google search, but Google search give you tons of answer and you have to sift through it. But AI bot is basically you write a specific question and they give you a very specific answer, one answer. Okay, if you don't like it, you ask the question a little bit differently. So for folks who are not using the AI that Ty and I talking about, it's more kind of like a ChatGPT, Gemini, or Copilots. Okay, so when you start asking AI some of the questions, you will notice it can wear multiple roles. When you can ask AI, say, create marketing strategy for me, and my company is a commercial bank, and we are located in California. My target audience are small business owner. I sell them the products such as line of credit. Can you create a marketing campaign for me? Why don't you just try that and see what the AI will come up with? They actually can create some sort of campaign for you. Okay, that doesn't mean you will agree, but there's an answer. And then if you are a content creator, you can basically say, hey, I want to create a blog, and the title of blog is such. My target audience is such. The word count should be 800 to 1,000 words. It should include the following key points, and the call to action is such. When you write a prompt, that's called a prompt, or the instruction to give to AI, boom, AI can write a kind of rough draft of a blog post for you. So the people are overwhelmed by AI right now. That's because AI wears multiple hats. It can create strategy, it can create content, it can create campaigns, you can ask any specific marketing questions, they have some sorts of answer. So you cannot kind of, it's like all of a sudden this AI can do many things, especially repetitive things you don't want to do. Maybe you can just delegate to AI or create a custom bot to do that specific task. So that's why AI becomes so kind of like popular nowadays. It almost becomes like everybody's virtual assistant in a way. So Ty, can you tell me, now I'm interviewing you, how do you use AI? Do you use ChatGPT at all?
I do a lot.
See? And a lot. And how do you use it? Can you tell us?
Well, it's interesting because I was just helping a buddy launch a new business, and I was doing a lot of the stuff for him. And Credit Suite's 10 years old, so I 3 years of email content. I wrote all that stuff myself.
Yeah.
Wrote it all myself, right? Like now I look at it, I'm like, oh my gosh. But just to give us an example of this, in 1 week, 1 week's time,
Yeah.
AI helped us, come in, create the products, create the offers. It helped us create a guide, a lead magnet, all the content for the actual landing page, a long form sales page to be able to sell a $7 offer upon exit, a long form sales page after that to sell a course, all the content for the course, all the content for every one of the bonuses that comes with every one of those offers, the content for the website, the entire email sequence to be able to, keep them informed and educated, then the emails to sell on the product
Yep.
in a week. That's crazy. I mean,
No.
so that's, just an example of how we use AI, but we find that AI creates better ads for us than we're able to create on our own. So everything from emails, from ads, from landing page copy, AI is just at the root of a lot of it right now, even especially titles of products, titles of
Product, yeah.
guides. It's fantastic at all that stuff.
So Ty, you hit the core. You kind of answer that question better than I answer my question. I answer the question you asked me. So it is. So that's what AI is for. It's actually help the marketer to do a lot of work that usually takes a long time to do. However, my point to everyone is Ty is correct. But the thing is, you still have to understand that you as a marketer, you know your customers, you know your product, and also you know the company politics, or you know your sales team so much better than AI. So you are inputting a lot of those information to AI, and AI will regurgitate or respond with a specific answer based on your input. So the better the input that you do, the better the outcome is. But that's not always guaranteed. For me specifically, especially, I want to be very honest with everybody. When I try to write this book, this one is called The Modern AI Marketer in GPT Era. And I really want to write a book. Frankly, I don't even want to write this book. Okay. I want AI to write it for me. So I actually work with the developer. I got the outline created. I like the bullet points for each outline, basically table of contents. I got it created, and I provided a lot of information. And this is a 100 page. It's not a long read. You can literally read this while binge watching Netflix. I guarantee it's an easy read. So when I was trying to do this book initially, I want AI to do it. I even more than happy to write created by AI. I'm not kidding. Okay, I don't even want to take credit. AI can have the credit from my perspective. But when I work with the developer, try to create this long form content, this is very long form. This is not just like a 1,500 word blog post or 4,000 word ebook. This is, almost 21,000 words, and it has to flow from one chapter to another. I work with the developer for 3 days. We try various prompts. We even write codes to actually have it right. At the end, it was not very successful. That's because a lot of sentences they wrote, it's very, I'm going to use the word flowery. When you read it, it sounds so good, but when you read it, that sentence does not have substance. Is that helpful?
It makes a lot of sense. And you're talking about something I've had a lot of problems with, is that when I use AI, I cannot freaking get it to write long form anything.
Not yet. It will eventually, I think, but any kind of long form stuff, I tried, it was not good.
I can't either. Like, it's astonishing. Like, if I'm writing a book, it couldn't even write a chapter, right? It could write a section, but not a chapter. And so then it's every time I get to like a long form sales page or anything, it takes a lot of manual work to get that stuff.
At the end, you will give up. Like I gave up. After 3 or 4 days, I completely gave up. I was like, okay, you know what? I cannot be lazy about this. I just need to buckle down and freaking write. And I did.
Well, I think to your point, the outline helps. What I found with it is that if I do an outline, and let's say use the book as an example, because that's a perfect example of long form. Yeah. If I do an outline of a book, for example, well, then I know what the chapter is. And then if I do an outline of the chapter and break it down into segments, then I have a fighting chance of getting AI to help me write small sections.
Small sections.
Put together.
So a lot of time I will write the whole section. And then what I did is for a certain section, and I use my judgment call. Sometimes I think I will say this piece right here, you know what? The way I write it, it just doesn't flow. Then I will enter exactly what I wrote, and I will ask AI, say, rewrite it. And sometimes it can do a much better job. Sometimes it can't.
Right.
The key thing, everyone, you need to understand is you need to make a judgment call in terms of when AI gives you something, is it good enough for you, or does it make sense? Is it on target? But you don't have that knowledge unless you understand your customers, understand your job, you have a certain kind of knowledge behind what you are doing. you need to make a judgment call. Like Ty, you can, right? Because you know your product so well. When AI creates something and writes something, you look at it and that looks good, right? But sometimes they give you something, you're like, no, that's totally off the mark. Yeah.
Right. What do you do about stalled marketing and sales growth? I think a lot of businesses deal with this, where I see a lot of small entrepreneurs, they get a referral source or two, and then they're off to the races, right? Then that referral source stops or slows down, and then their business slows down, and they're 100% rely on the referral source. Whether that's the root of the problem or not, I see a lot of businesses want to grow faster, and they're not able to. They're running into different plateaus for whatever reason. What have you found that helps them get unstuck on the sales side and the marketing side to be able to get through those hurdles, through those plateaus, and still be able to accomplish the growth they want?
You know, I ran into that issue. I don't know about you, Ty. Ty, you look like super incredibly successful. I also ran into the issue of the plateau of referral, because a lot of my business is actually coming from the clients that have worked with me in the past, or from I speak at the conferences and also doing a private workshop. And they was like, okay, Pam can do this. That's actually get Pam to do something else, right? So that referral, if you do a great job, referral is still the best way to get business. And I'm pretty sure Ty, you agree with me. And but you are totally right. At some point, you're gonna hit the plateau. You will. And I did as well. So with that, you need to somehow proactively address that before you even hit the plateau. Okay. You will know. Trust me, if you are in the business or you are an entrepreneur, you see the pipeline opportunity kind of stay stagnant, you know that you somehow either hit the plateau or is not moving as fast as you should be. And then you need to start thinking about, okay, how can I get new opportunities? And also you need to think about your customers, where they are. And if your customers are the type of person that usually go to events, maybe you should go to events. If you are type of customers that usually go to a specific type of popular website, maybe you can do sponsor ads, or maybe you can write the content over there and try to get attention. You need to think through, like, what are some of the marketing mechanisms I need to dial up? And the pay does play a role if you want to generate new opportunities. It does. To some extent, you cannot just rely on organic at all. Some point you have to do pay effort. When I say pay, that means events. It's anything that you pay to get yourself out there. You pay to build your brand awareness. So I think from my perspectives, you have to understand your audience deeply and know where they get information, and then go where they are. But that's easy to say than done. So
Pam, I love it. I could sit here and talk to you for hours, because your knowledge is so vast on the marketing and sales side, right? And
thank you.
like, if you can be an expert in these areas, then it's astonishing how many people you can help and what you're able to build. What should I have asked you that I didn't ask you that you think could help the listeners and watchers to be able to basically improve what they're doing on the marketing side and sales side, to be able to get out of stagnant growth and really reach exponential levels of growth?
So one thing I always advise my clients to do is look at the data. And there are two things I also ask entrepreneurs to do it too, is you need to make sure that everything you do on the marketing side, you need to make sure everything you do, the back end is connected. Right, the back end is connected. If you do email campaigns, is somehow connected to your marketing automation tool. If you are doing pay ads, somehow you need to be able to track that in your marketing automation tool. And if you move from MQL to SQL, you need to be able to track that flow into the CRM. And the key thing I want all the marketers to know, and nobody's going to tell you this, nobody, okay, including your CMO, is not going to say this. You, as a marketer, needs to understand CRM, because you need to understand when things got passed from MQL to SQL, just that specific SQL from what you did, what happened after that. And salespeople is not going to tell you. They are very busy selling, right? If you are a small team, you have to understand that part of it as much as you understand when you do marketing. because you can capture that. If you understand how that data flow and you understand that the 2 or 3 NQL created pipeline opportunity eventually becomes sales, becomes the deal one, you know what? Take credit. But nobody's going to tell you to take credit unless you have that data to support it. So marketers, especially if in a small business or a startup, you have to understand CRM. And that tend to be overlooked by many marketers.
It's great advice. Pam, it's been an honor having you on today. People that are listening, watching, that want to get more info, because we just scratched the surface here, what action should they take? Where should they go to learn more about you, what you offer, get the books, and be able to just take a further journey down the path of helping improve their marketing and sales?
So you can find me on pamdidner.com, and I have a wealth of information on the blog. I also have YouTube channel. Feel free to follow me. And I do write a lot. I also have a TikTok. Who does that? So, but anyway, and I recently wrote 2 books, and this is the Modern AI Marketer series. And this one is called The Guide to Gen AI Prompts. Got over 75 prompts, sales and marketing prompts, that in 12 sales and marketing categories that you can use anytime. It's kind of like a toolbox, if you will. And this is basically, I kind of go into detail how you can scale AI within the company. So if you are interested in doing that, check it out. 100 pages, 50 pages, easy read. Seriously, you can watch TV and read it at the same time. And if you have any questions, reach out anytime.
Thanks for coming on with us today, Pam.
Anytime. Thank you so much for having me, Ty.
And by the way, I love that you're on TikTok. I live on TikTok. Like even today with a hurricane coming in, like I went to TikTok to check the weather news of what's going on. That's where I reside.
So funny. Oh my God. Are you sure you are not Gen Z? I don't know. You look good.
It could be. It could be. Well, thanks again, Pam, for coming in with us today.
Thank you so much.
So listen, if you're watching this, as I always say, the knowledge doesn't mean anything if you don't take action. And so what I want you to do is go to pamdidner.com. That's PAMDIDNER. Pam has a ton of stuff on her website. I mean, you can go and click on resources. You're able to find videos. You're able to find her blog. She's got her own podcast. You're able to access her books there. You can learn more about her services. You can even book a consultation, access social media pages, everything there. So you only have one action, which is go to pamdidner.com. As she said, she's got 50-page book, 100-page book. These are really short, but they teach you the things you need to teach to do the kind of stuff that her and I are doing, which is like build an entire company in a week using AI. Like you'd probably even know if that's possible, right? She's not saying it, I'm saying it. I've done it. It's possible, but you have to understand the prompts. You have to understand how to work with AI in a way to get it to give you the output that you really desire. And those are just some of the many things that Pam covers in some of her books. So make sure you go to pamdidner.com. Again, schedule a call, access all of her resources, be able to access her books. It all happens right there. I'll also put a link on the show resources page and schedule some time. Remember, Pam is a fractional CMO. So what this means is she goes into companies and she basically handles the marketing for a lot of different companies. And she's like a C-level executive type of person that comes in and probably saves a lot of businesses. So there's a lot you can learn. And we just scratched the surface today. You can get a lot more on our website, pamdidner.com. That's PAMDIDNER.com. So thanks for tuning in. Take care. Have a great day.